Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success podcast, with your hosts, Mike Menino and Nareman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hi, everybody. It's Michael Menino, and welcome to Driven Unscripted Success podcast. Today on the podcast, we're interviewing professionals who share their experience with you, the audience, and how they got to where they're at today. And zooming from the beautiful island of Cleveland, Ohio, is Michael Perisa. How you doing, young man?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks so much for having me today. It's a blustery day here in Northeast Ohio.
Well, it's just November, and I know he's not telling the 100% truth. When you say blustering, what blustering temperature are you at right now, Michael?
We touched 30s this morning. I think we're sitting at 47 right now. I was walking around without a coat on outside, trying to soak up the last little bit of summer and niceness that I can soak out of the area. Yeah.
Wow, I recently moved. I used to live in Michigan, which is right next door,
Oh
right
yeah,
above you. I know, and it's hard to explain to people down here what we know.
Yeah.
I can't explain to them what cold is. They go, it gets cold here, 32 degrees. I'm like, oh, okay. Do me a favor, Michael. Tell everybody, where you're at in life and how you got there. You
Yeah.
talked a little bit about your business, and I really am interested in that.
Yeah, very much so. So I a little bit of a not so direct path into general pediatrics where I'm at now. So I had a passion for medicine growing up. My aunt was a physician. She ended up passing away in a plane crash pretty early on in my life, and just kind of taking that desire to want to fill the shoes that she kind of left behind really drove me to medicine. I got engaged with pediatric cancer medicine early on. I went to a summer camp, fell in love with that population, and just seeing some of these kids out there, knowing what they're going through functioning normally, right? Like whatever normal is anymore. It was just incredible. So that passion, drove me through medical school and residency, and actually started into a fellowship down at St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Amazing institution. In fact, that families don't pay anything outside of what their insurance, pays for is incredible. Knowing what they're going through. This was shortly after having our first child, as I had talked about a little bit before. We lost a family member as well as some major health issues with some of our other ones, and we're 13 hours away from Northeast Ohio with a 1-year-old. And like, this probably isn't a great setup for him. He needs to be able to know his grandparents, because family is such a big part of our life, what we want. That brought me back to Northeast Ohio, practicing as a general pediatrician. I'm sure anybody with kids can probably attest to our healthcare system. For pediatrics, it's broken. It took me less than 18 months to realize, families calling in, I need an appointment. Okay, we can see you in 3 weeks. I'm like, really? Like, that problem's
3 weeks.
and that's unfortunately the norm for something. Yes, there's same day sick visits, but when families have needs that arise, calling, not being able to get a hold of the provider, or just not being able to manage things that make sense, but because we need to bring patients into the office to bill insurance, just how the system is set up, it doesn't bode well for patients. 18 months at that stint in a regular, insurance-based office, I got so burnt out with it, just seeing 35, 40 kids a day during sick season, not having time to spend with any of them really to talk through their needs. And it still pains me today that I felt okay saying, okay, your families come in with 6 or 7 complaints on their list for their checkup, right? They see me once a year. Let's pick 1 or 2 that you want to talk about today. Like, what?
Really?
It's not that the doctors, are mean people. It's just the restrictions of you get 20 minutes once a year to see your provider and everything you need to talk about. It just doesn't work, right? Because kids, don't exist
It
within that
doesn't.
box. So shortly after that, I broke away and I found the person who hired me for that job had broken off and started Zest Pediatric Network, which is a direct pediatric care network. So when our families, sign up with our office and work with us, they get direct access to me. So my cell phone number, it's me that they call. There's no nurse line. There's no waiting on hold. There's no really waiting for appointments. We do home visits, especially for like 0 to 6 month olds. I remember trying to bring some of my kids.
Wait.
Yeah,
Time out. You go
let's
to
do
their
it.
home.
That's probably my favorite part, is being able to meet families in their homes, especially for those newborns. But even afterwards, right? Parents are having to miss work, so they're home with their kid. Let me come to you in between meetings. We can check that ear for you. Or even better yet, let me teach you how to use a digital otoscope, one of the ear looker things. Send me pictures of their eardrum. If you feel comfortable and confident using it, let's do it, right? There's no insurance stipulation saying I need to bring you into the office to bill for our service. We just provide care that best fits for your family. And that might look different for everybody, but It's just such a freeing model, not only for families to be able to have that direct access, but for providers too, right? I have better quality of life. My patient load is like a tenth of what I had in a traditional practice, and I'm able to be a better family man, better husband, better father to my kids now because I'm around for them more.
So wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are you telling me you did what everybody's been trying to do for the last 100 years and got rid of the insurance companies?
So families still need to have some sort of insurance, which we're working to fix that, and I'll talk about that more in a second. But all of our care is provided within just a monthly membership fee. So there's no co-pays, there's no urgent care really because we're open when they need us. But vaccines are still pretty expensive. Emergency room visits, labs, and stuff like that still happen on occasion. But for the most part, and especially pairing it with a high deductible plan, using an HSA or an FSA to pay for those memberships, we can save families money, and they're getting such a higher level of care as well.
That is amazing. So you go, we call them emergency visits. So we have an insurance for emergency visits because we don't like insurance companies. We love doctors,
Yeah,
right? I'm sure you understand that from the patient's aspect. I
sure.
love my doctors, and every doctor I've built houses for, and every doctor I've dealt with is an amazing person, period. I don't know if it's because of the amount of school you got to go through or just it attracts great people. Um, I heard from your end, dealing with the insurance company is the worst possible thing you could ever do in your entire life.
That's probably a fair assessment. Yeah, I think
That's
that's fair.
really a fair assessment. I have one of my guys that worked with me a long time ago, not too long ago. He worked with me a little while ago. His wife literally did just that's all she did for her dentist office. It was just
Mm,
work with insurance companies, billing them get rejected, billing them getting
yep,
rejected,
yep.
telling them what they need. And there's people that literally have a job doing that, right? And you guys negated all that. You got rid of all that.
And it makes everybody's life so much easier. There's no middleman. That it's just us with families, and like there's our overhead is essentially none. So it's just the providers and the patients. So we don't have any nurses, we don't have any MAs. We do all of our vaccines for our patients. We do all of our vital signs for our patients. And really, what we want to build with this is that personal relationship, right? So you call me at 10 o'clock at night. I know your history for your child. I don't have to dig through a chart and looking at this for the first time. It's somebody that and are comfortable with. One of my more rewarding experiences. Have you heard of a nursemaid's elbow before? Kind of pulling on the kid's arm, they stop using their arm for a little bit. So it's a dislocation of one of the joints in the elbow. It's pretty common in younger kids, especially they're hanging off their parent's arm and then they move around like all kids do. A parent
Yes.
calls me like 8:30 at night, right? This would have been after hours in the traditional office. Like, hey, this happened. I'm like, okay, like, walk me through what was going on. What's the kid doing now? I happen to be free. I'm like, let me come to you. I go to their house, 9:30, so it was within an hour or so. They're watching Encanto. I sit there, I reduce it for them while they're on their couch, right? Probably saving a $1,500 at an emergency room. I felt so great doing that because I knew I could provide the care to them in this model. And obviously, like they were loving it, right? They don't have to go anywhere. Their provider comes to them, fixes this problem for them. Um, that felt great. Yeah, that was a good day.
Well, I can't even wrap my brain around how that sounds great. I mean, it's
Yeah.
your doctor coming to you. He knows everything about your kids because you've done some evaluations with them and you know the kid. How many patients do you have?
Yeah, so once we're full, we're looking around 300 or so. And that's how we're able to do some of the things that we can do. In a traditional practice, I was probably sitting around like 3,500. Again, which is why you get, 10 to 15 minutes when things come up because you have so many patients that you need to carry to hit those RVUs to be able to generate enough income for the system, for, the office, taking away all that overhead and just pairing with the doctor. That's why we don't need so many patients to still make, a great living, which is nice.
We make a great living. The patients get a better care, and this is called a win-win-win situation for
Yeah.
everybody.
I think Michael Scott had that quote too, right? Win, 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 or I forget how it went. Yeah.
Win-win-win. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's what we do in our business, and we,
Yeah.
we look for win-win-win scenarios. And I'm blown away from this. I don't even know what kind of questions to ask, but what is one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome in your new career?
Yeah. that the fact that this is newer and different, right? Families
Different.
wrapping their
That's a
mind
good way of putting
around,
it.
families wrapping their mind around, I have insurance. Why would I pay for something else? That's probably the biggest barrier anywhere with anything new, right? Change is hard for anybody to kind of fully accept. Our question back to families then is, okay, do you understand your insurance? What do you get for your insurance? Do you have co-pays for office visits? What is your charge for urgent care? What do you get charged to do an in-office strep test, in-office urine test, right? Like really thinking through what you're actually getting for that monthly premium, and then comparing that to a monthly membership. So 0 to 2-year-olds, we charge $180 a month. And
Wait,
if we
wait,
get,
bounce,
get
wait,
yeah,
wait a minute, Mike. You can't say something like that and expect me to glaze over it. Did you say 180 for your kid a month? And
yep,
you've got a primary care physician that will come to your house.
come to your house, yeah, do all the normal things that we would do as a pediatrician, keep you out of those high cost urgent care emergency rooms because we're open when you need us. And if you think about it, right, an emergency room visit, urgent care visit, a couple hundred to $1,000, we spare you one of those a year, we're probably pretty close to breaking even. And especially if we're using some of those HSA or FSA funds built into people's insurance, and it's hard to even fathom what this is like until you've experienced it. That's another question we get from families. Well, what's the catch, right? And new doctors, like, what's the
It
catch? It
doesn't
sounds
make
too
it
good to be
doesn't
true,
make sense because we're so
right?
used to dealing with insurance. This
Yeah.
doesn't make because we were paying. We had kids for a long time ago. We're paying insurance now, and it's astronomical. And just like you said, you get 10 minutes with your primary care physician, and if you go to the hospital, it costs way more.
Yep. We're trying to break the
Wow,
mold.
this is
Trying to break the mold.
you are breaking the mold. You are breaking. So back to the question: what was one of the biggest
Yeah.
challenges you had to overcome? I'm sure you've had some pushback. I'm sure the
Yeah.
insurance companies don't like you.
Probably not. We have partnered with a Medicaid plan actually in Ohio, which is amazing. So this newer plan, AmeriHealth Caritas of Ohio, we pitched them our idea, the fact that we're more available, can know our patients better, we could probably save them money. We're having a 2-year trial period with them. Our hope is that after this 2 years, we can show other insurance companies like, look, sillies, here's the cost savings you can have. We can keep your kids healthier. Those asthmatics, we can keep them out of the emergency room because we can get higher touch, direct access when things aren't going well. Pay for this for your families. So in a perfect world, for people's insurance premiums, they would cover this just as part of it, which would be nice.
Wow. So you're blending your services with the insurance.
It long term, because you still need to have insurance for again those vaccines, those
Can
lab visits, those ER visits. Let's let them pay for this too if we can show them the cost savings.
How much typically can you save somebody? So when you're saying this, you're telling me that you're saving money and giving way better care to your patient.
And that's probably true for most patients, right? If you have kids, kids are great. I've got 3 of them. We're expecting our 4th. They're little germ people, right? Hands are in their mouth, they're
They
touching other
are.
kids' faces, right? They're going to get sick. For a normal child who is around other kids getting sick, it's normal for them to get sick 10 to 12 times a year. And it always happens Friday night or on the weekend when everything's closed, right? That's just how they are.
Right.
Yes, we should be able
You're
to
right.
save.
You're 100% right.
It's like
Friday
they
night,
know.
Saturday morning.
Yeah. We should be able to save families money, if not come very close to breaking even. And again, the care that they get doesn't compare to a traditional model. Yeah.
Wow. I'm having a hard time understanding it because it sounds too good to be real. Oh, so what is your how do I put this? What is the things that come easy to you in what you do and it comes hard to other doctors in
Yeah,
this model?
fair. I get so much of my energy and drive during the day from my patient interactions. I think that's partly what drove me. And I was even kicking around like palliative care when I was in my, pediatric cancer medicine, right? Just being there with those families in those vulnerable moments, making a difference for them is what drives me. It takes a while to catch on to that. So I feel like, act like a child at work and it's socially acceptable. I get down on the ground, roll around with these kids and play. It's just, it brings me so much joy. So just being able to bring that to the job and make them feel more comfortable. And it's nice seeing these kids who come in. I used to be terrified of the doctors. I hated shots, like you just hated going there. I don't know if that's part of, what's bringing this kind of full circle for me, is to be able to provide a better experience for others. But seeing them running around the office, it's a different style of office too. If you're able to check it out ever, it doesn't feel like a traditional doctor's office. It's like a playroom, right? They go play with their toys while we're doing their exam, talking with their family. It's just so much more comfortable, and seeing them in that comfortable environment, making those positive memories for them. Um, it's hard to put words to. It's great. Yeah.
So as a business owner, I would highly suggest you videotape all of those
Yeah.
and then make some shorts and put them all through the internet, because if people know that, I don't think people in your area know that what you're doing, because you're not in South Carolina, because I have a grandson that would love to be working with you.
Not
And
yet. We're trying to expand. Yeah. Yeah.
well, if you get to Columbia, South Carolina, please let me know.
Yeah. We'll do.
And the care you give it sounds insane. It really does. I haven't seen a doctor in 30, 40 years for over 20 minutes. And these are physicals, and I require a lot to my physicals because I do crazy stuff. And so my doctor's I told my doctor, I said, hey, listen, your job is to keep me alive. I'm not going to help you.
Yeah. Make that difficult at every turn I can. Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, and so I love my doctor, and she does a great job of, like, looking at all my numbers and saying, "Hey, you got to do this to stay alive." I'm like, "Okay,
Sure.
check." Um, this is a very unique concept. Has it ever been tried before?
So family med, or in adults, I think it's been around, a little bit longer, 10, 12 years or so. In family med, or, internal med, adult docs, there's some networks out there. And I want to say they have some buy-in from insurance companies, again, knowing the cost savings. I think part of why it maybe hasn't come around as quickly in pediatrics is that from a system standpoint, there's not a lot of money to be made for direct pediatric care, just in general. Getting them to the subspecialties for ear tubes and stuff, absolutely, there's money there. But peds is lagged behind a little bit longer, like 5 to 7 years or so.
So you're saying the adult care has been happening, but you're getting into the pediatric care now.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. So the model itself, the direct care model, where families, people sign up directly with their doctor, that their care doesn't go through the insurance, has been around a little bit longer. Yeah.
I wish I would have known that. I wish they do it around here. I might look into it, actually, because they're starting to get a little bit out of hand.
Yeah.
It sounds like things are going pretty well for you. Thinking about the future, have you ever considered or created ways to generate passive income?
Um, Not quite yet, and I think part of that is poor planning on my end. Med school loans, if you could believe it, med school is pretty darn expensive, and having 3 kids, soon to be 4, getting a house in an area where we'd like to send them to school. So we probably haven't made the greatest financial decisions with our life yet, but that's okay. There's always time to regroup. Passive income, long term, would love to get into real estate. So having a couple apartments that we're kind of running out would be nice. Other passive stuff, I haven't looked too far into it yet. And I think that's just where I'm at, kind of in my life, and trying to stay alive with the crazies at home.
Organize the chaos.
Yeah, that's fair.
Organize the chaos. That's kind of what I used to do when I was your age. I was
Yeah.
just managing the chaos. Come home, and there was a commercial a long time ago where this guy's walking into his business and like, oh, the feds are here, the IRS is here, and this is here. Johnny hurt himself, and he's just walking by and just not paying attention, because that's kind of what you have to do all day.
Yeah.
And what's your oldest kid?
He's 7. Yeah, Nolan's 7.
Ooh, boys at 7. Yeah, they're not that energized, are they?
No. Add that to the dogs that we were talking about. The 2 huskies. Yeah, they love it. The kids are having, jumping off of stuff and trying to teach their 2-year-old sister how to do it, and she doesn't know how to do it yet. But yeah, nobody's had to go to the emergency room so far.
You got a doctor close by,
Right.
So do you have any podcasts or books or something that really changed it for you? Is there any, something that you could talk about that would change other people's lives?
Yeah, I'm trying to think book wise. For me, it was a lot of fear with potential new things in the unknown, right? So pivoting in my career. So pivoting away from pediatric cancer medicine when that was kind of my driving force for so long. It seemed like such a shock to me at the time, right? Just trying to wrap my mind around all of this. Similarly, going away from like a steady paying, normal insurance-based pediatric job with a stable salary was tricky at first. Coming back to my core of what drives me, what motivates me in life, it made it so much easier, right? Like family is at the center of all that I want for my day to day. Is it better for my family, the moves that I'm making? And the answer was always yes. So like just looking at it from the different lens from that sense makes things so much easier. But it's scary, right? You need to have people around you to be able to support you through these. And lucky for me, we've got great family that live close by who are able to help through these times. But there's for sure difficult times, right? As I'm sure you can attest to it through your journey thus far. Just having those people that you can lean on and just kind of following your inner compass, whatever drives people.
Exactly. Driven unsubscripted success. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
I was not paid for that
So,
comment. Yeah.
uh, not paid advertisement by Michael. I do appreciate that. Um, got one of the best questions I've ever had. So someone asked this to me, and I'm going to ask it to you. If
Yeah.
you were to go back to your early 20s, what would you do different, knowing everything you know now? What would you do different? What would you do the same?
Yeah, I think I would still explore the paths that I took to get me to this point. I was at different stages in my life. So I don't think I would change sort of how I got to where I am. Having a kid expanded my understanding of what direct family meant to me at that time. Giving yourself some grace, having an open mind to expand, your understanding of what actually is the most meaningful to you. I wouldn't change the path. What I would do differently for sure is probably not buy the house that we did at the time in the area, getting a new car initially out, right? Everybody, as soon as they get money, right, they tell you not to go and spend it on, yeah, right? It's hard when you're in that situation. Like I've been hurting for so long, studying for so long. I just want to have something somewhat nice that I can, wrap my head around. Probably could have done without getting the vehicles that we did. Not that we spent a whole lot on them, but still, being a bit more frugal. But that's probably the changes that I would make up till now.
The advice you would give other people that are in your that they're starting off in your shoes. That's good advice. I like that. Yeah, I was very good about. I was very good about. So there's a healthy balance for that. I was very good about
Sure.
not buying all the crazy cool stuff, and when I even could afford it. So I'm missing out on that part. So
Yeah.
there's a healthy balance. I agree with you 100%. Hey, Michael, if anybody wants to get in touch with you, first off, thanks a lot. That was a lot of great information.
Yeah.
This is a crazy concept. I mean, this really, truly is. I love the idea, and I wish that you were in South Carolina for my grandson right now. If
Give us some
anybody would
time. We'll
like
get
to
there.
get, let me know when you get here, please. It will be your first clients.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to get in touch with your company, how would they get in touch with you? How would you like to meet with them?
Yeah, zestpeds.com, just our website for all of our offices, is probably the best jumping off point. That's just zestpeds.com. If you Google Map search or Apple Map search any of our offices and you call that number, you're going to get one of the doctors answering that call. So if you want to talk to one of them directly, right? I know it's another mind-blowing thing. We get that from families. Like, I called the
You're
office.
hurting my
Okay,
brain.
right? I know. I'm sorry. We'll have to slow it down. Um,
Yeah, a little
it's
bit. It doesn't
yeah.
make sense. It doesn't
You want to,
compute. You don't have 20 people to go through to talk to a doctor.
right? It's amazing when you remove all that insurance stuff, how easy it gets. Yeah, if you want to talk to directly one of our doctors, either east to west side of Cleveland, outside of Pittsburgh, and South Florida, or Orlando area, just call the number directly there. You'll reach one of the amazing other doctors that are in our practices.
Michael, I can't thank you enough. This has been an eye-opening experience, and I do appreciate it. Thanks a lot for being on the show. I do appreciate it. And if anybody is in the Ohio area, I highly recommend talking to them because the care that you get from this kind of service sounds like something you've never seen before.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. All right. Don't forget, everybody else, like and subscribe. We appreciate that, and it helps out the channel. So thank you very much for being on the show. Appreciate you, Michael.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.